Hello, fellow R programmers. Welcome to another session of our class, Social Informatics, the 8th session. Today, we continue our program on R and specifically R-type system and structures, in which we talk about types we use in R as well as structures. For example, we talked about vectors, lists, and matrices. Today we are going to talk about another important and popular structure in R. The last slide we discussed in the previous session of R programming was this. We talked about this address, and also briefly we talked about the function or command file.choose. The most obvious difference between using file choose in your codes in R and writing them directly is easiness. When you are using file.choose, it is much easier, especially if you don't want to repeat the command. So just one time you do it and you are not gonna trouble yourself with typing all these type of things and having the chance of mistyping any part of this address. So I'm going to show you how this address works, how this command, how this function works. Okay, here I'm going to show you how that command works. For example, here I just want to save an address of a file without directly typing them. So I go for file.choose, as you can see. Okay, see my friends, here I have put the name of address for the address, and it is just the name. Okay, so just to make sure it is just the name, I change it to this one, ADDSS, and file.choose. Okay, I'm gonna run this. This page opens. So I can go and get any file that I like. Okay, so if you remember, the file we discussed last session was this file. So I select this and put it, and that's it. Now here in the file, in the object ADDSS, and as you can see how how R Studio is helping me to retrieve the file. So I put it here and I run it. Just pay attention to this part, my friends. Exactly the address that last session you entered it manually. In the quotation mark has double backslash, and this is the address. Now it is your choice which way you are more comfortable with to use with your codes. Now that you know how to type and create addresses in R, it means that you can reach out to any file on your computer, on your system, and read it and manipulate it and do whatever you want with to do whatever you want to do with. Okay, let's start with this function, read.csv. As you have noticed so far, R is high-level language. It means that this language is closer to the way human beings talks. It is not a scripted type of language that it is very difficult to understand the meaning of a command. For example, when you read this function, it says read.csv. Okay, what is the first thing strikes your mind when you read this? It says that this function is for reading CSV files on your computer. Okay, read CSV, as I told you, you can guess easily what this command does. Reads a file into a data frame. Data frame is another data type, data structure that we have in R that is very important and we are using it a lot. If I want to tell you in short what is data frame, I should tell you it is tables. Whatever in real life, I mean not virtual life, in real life we call it tables, in R we know them as data frame. So whenever you see data frame or whenever we talk about data frame, in fact we are talking about tables. So let's read it another time. Read.csv, the function, reads a file. What is the file? The file is a CSV file that we already know about that and we practiced it before. And if you go and check the file that we already have discussed, you notice it is a table with headers, with row numbers, and some data over there. Now we are gonna read that table into R to be able to do some processing over. So in the second bullet, it talks about the syntax we use. On R console, type the following command. I'm going to show you now so you can follow me and learn the points better. On R console, type the following command. Okay, my file to open is the name of the file. Is the name of the object we want put for the data that we are reading into R. This smaller dash sign, that small arrow sign, equal to equal sign, read.csv. Here we put the file address that we want R to read it, because here I'm telling R, hey R, go and read this CSV file for me, and R asks, where is the location of that CSV file? I said that here is the address. Go and read this for me. And another argument that we put in this command is this: header equals true. What does it mean, header equals true? Let me show you. Here is the CSV file that since the beginning of our class we have worked on, and you downloaded this file before. Okay, so now we are going to do a practice on the command with this file, but I want to tell you about the header. See, I have this file somewhere on my computer. So when I want to ask R to read this file for me, I have to give the address to R. Here we have this command. You can use any of these things, anyone you are more comfortable with. For example, if I want to go for that, I'm going to tell R that go and read that file that I just showed you. I'm going to give you the address here and put it in this object, file to open. But here, what does it mean about headers true or false? Here, I have put header equals true. By putting header equals true, in fact, I'm telling R, hey R, when you go to read this file, this table, in this file, in that location, remember that the file you are reading, the table you are reading, has a header. Why it has a header? Because I have said that header equals true. It means that the file that you are reading here, hey R, has a header. Be advised. Be careful. It has a header. So when R reads this, it considers the first row as header. And it doesn't consider this as data. It doesn't give it a row number. It considers it as the header. And what does header mean? It means that, for example, if it is header, no is not a data. No is just a name for the first column. B9 is just a name for the second column. Index 1 is a name for the third column, and like that. We have talked about naming the rows and columns before. And here, when you say that header equals true, you are in fact telling that the first row is just names. Don't consider it as data. Now we are gonna do some practical exercises on these things to get the idea better. Okay, we are back here to run that commands. Okay, if you remember in the PowerPoint, the object name was file to open, and it is just the name. So I'm gonna put FTO, file to open, as the name, and I'm gonna put read.csv. Opens, and after that here it wants the address. I start with this one, file dot choose, and here header true in capital, and that's it. So here I'm saying that FTO read.csv file.choose. I give you the address here, and header equals true. So I'm gonna run this. It asks me, take me to the address, to the file you want me to read. So I'm going for that file, binary4, and open, and that's it. So here, when I put FTO, because now it is the object, and I run it, you see, I have the data here. It is inside now. And another point that you see, the header, no, benign, malignant, index 1, index 2, index 3 are just names. There is no row name. R starts numbering the rows from the second row. As you can see, it is 1. There is no number for here. Is there another way to do it? Yes, we are gonna do it in another way so you can see. We name it FTO1 read.csv, and here instead of putting that file.choose, I'm gonna put the address that we have it here. Can you put the address directly instead of putting the object of the address? Again, yes. So we have here, and after that FTO1. When I run it, the same thing happens. And finally, you may ask, what happens if I put instead of header true, header false? Let's do it and check the results. Okay, here we have FTO2, and here the header is false. What happens? It considers the header also as data, and it starts numbering it from header. And so when I run it, and here we have this one, and as you can see here, it starts numbering from the header.